Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, let's just dive right into this, because today we're talking about something literally every single parent knows deep in their bones: overwhelmed parenting. I'm one of your hosts, and honestly, as a parent myself, I can't even tell you how many desperate late-night Google searches I've done when I was just feeling completely burned out.
Oh, you and me both. I'm your co host, and let's be real for a second. We've all sat on the edge of the bed at 11 p.m., typing things into our phones like, how do I stop yelling at my kids? Or, why do I feel like such a bad parent? We have absolutely been in those trenches. Today, we are taking the incredibly practical insights from the Steady Ground Guide to really unpack why parenting feels so incredibly heavy right now, and more importantly, what actually helps.
So there's this massive question we all ask ourselves when we're exhausted, overstimulated, or just completely mentally drained. Why am I so overwhelmed as a parent? When you're in that state, it is so easy to quietly wonder to yourself, am I failing at this? Right, and what we want to establish right out of the gate today is that feeling overwhelmed absolutely does not equal failure. It is so crucial to validate those exhausting thoughts. We think we're messing up because our patience is completely gone. But really, it just means you are carrying way too much with way too little support. And we all know exactly what carrying too much actually looks like on a random Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. We know this chaos. You've got one child crying over a broken cracker, the other suddenly needs help with a massive school project that's magically due tomorrow, dinner is literally burning on the stove, your phone is buzzing with work emails, and the laundry is practically forming a mountain in the hallway. Yes, it's that extreme overstimulation. You literally feel like you are being physically and mentally pulled in 6 different directions at the exact same time. These are the everyday, realistic triggers that make us feel like we're just barely holding it together. Which leads us to this huge, game-changing epiphany. Overloaded, not a bad parent. Losing your patience, feeling totally annoyed, or desperately wanting a break does not come from a lack of love.
Exactly. The really crucial point here is that when you are stressed and overstimulated, your baseline capacity is just lower. A tiny thing, like a child asking just one more question, feels completely unbearable because your cup is already overflowing. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" we need to flip the script and ask, "What support do I need right now?"
Which brings us to part 1, the invisible mental load and decision fatigue. Let's look at why it feels so heavy. We experience this first one all day long without even realizing it. Decision fatigue. From the literal minute you wake up, you are deciding, what's for breakfast? Do I allow screen time? Is 30 minutes too much? Do I intervene in the sibling squabble or just ignore it?
Totally. And constant decision-making physically wears the brain down. That's exactly why, by 6 p.m., even the simplest choices feel totally impossible. When your brain is fried, that just one more question from your toddler isn't just a question. It's the straw that breaks the camel's back and triggers a total blow-up.
And compounding that decision fatigue is the invisible mental load. It's not just what you're physically doing, it's everything you are remembering. You're tracking who needs new shoes, who has a permission slip due, and who is struggling emotionally today.
Right. You are constantly anticipating what might fall apart later if you don't handle it right this second. So when your child has a massive meltdown over refusing to put on their shoes, you aren't really just reacting to the shoes. No way. You're reacting to the weight of the entire morning's invisible mental load crashing down on you all at once. It is never just about the shoes.
It never is. All right, moving into section 2, pausing before you snap. So the moment that matters most. We all know that physical feeling right before the boiling point, right? Your chest gets incredibly tight, your face gets hot. Most of us try to just push through that feeling, which usually ends in yelling. When you feel that heat rising, you need an emergency break. Try saying this: I'm getting overwhelmed, I need a minute.
Using this exact phrase interrupts that reaction cycle. It is so important to realize that taking a pause is an act of emotional regulation. It is absolutely not a weakness. You aren't letting the child get away with bad behavior. You are simply giving yourself the necessary space so you don't explode.
I absolutely love this variation too. Saying this out loud is super powerful. I want to handle this calmly, so I'm going to take a breath first. When you say that out loud, you are actively choosing a response over a raw reaction. Plus, you are protecting your relationship with your child. You are modeling for them in real time that big, frustrating feelings can be handled without losing control. Okay, let's get into part 3. Calm phrases for high stress. Let's build that toolkit. Knowing what to say in the moment is half the battle.
Default phrases are an absolute lifesaver because they totally eliminate decision fatigue. You don't have to invent a brilliant response when you're drained. This one is my absolute go-to. I can only do one thing at a time.
Oh, for sure. When the dog is barking, the toddler is pulling a pant leg, and your older kid is yelling from the other room, it is so incredibly grounding. It creates instant structure in the chaos. It drops the immense pressure we put on ourselves to magically meet everyone's needs simultaneously.
Here is another fantastic one to keep in your back pocket. I'm overloaded, let's make this one step simple. When the mental load gets too heavy, this phrase shrinks the overwhelm immediately.
Exactly. You just ignore the whole day's problems. You ignore the bedtime battles waiting for you later. You just safely focus on the very next step. The moment gets smaller, and suddenly it's actually manageable.
And here is another one to remember. We do not have to solve the whole thing right now. We so often feel this intense urgency to fix everything immediately. Fix the attitude, fix the messy room, fix the sibling rivalry. But trying to instantly fix everything makes parenting feel impossible. Not every problem needs an instant, complete solution. Sometimes the only goal is just to steady the moment. Maybe the next step is just turning off the TV and taking a breath. That's especially true during meltdowns. When a child has big emotions and you are already totally drained, try this. You're having a hard time. I'm going to keep this simple.
Yes, big emotions do not need big lectures. When we are stressed, we tend to over-explain and talk way too much. But fewer, simpler words create safety. Your child is melting down, you are completely drained, just keep it to, I'm here, or breathe with me.
But what happens when we do mess up? Because let's be real, we will. Section 4, Parent Guilt versus Parent Repair. Let's talk about the heavy guilt that inevitably follows losing our temper. There is a stark contrast between parent guilt and parent repair. Parent guilt says, I'm messing this up, my child deserves better. It keeps you trapped in a cycle of shame. Guilt completely drains the energy you need to actually fix things. On the flip side, parent repair says, I got frustrated, let's try again. Repair means you take responsibility. It doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It teaches your kids that adults make mistakes too, but we can apologize, reconnect, and grow. Kids don't need perfect parents. They need parents who repair. To make that shift toward steady parenting, let's look at Section 5, Practical Help for Hard Moments. We need real tools here. We absolutely need tangible support, not just more generic advice telling us to stay calm. This is a fantastic framework from the source material called the 10-second reset. Let's break it down step by step. Step 1. When you feel flooded, say out loud, slow down, one moment at a time. Step 2. Take one actual breath. And step 3, ask yourself, what does this moment need most? Does it need a boundary? Does it need comfort? Does it need fewer words? This simple sequence stops that feeling of sheer urgency. It brings a flooded parent right back to finding the very next safest step. And if you find yourself struggling to figure out what that next step is, the source material points to an amazing resource called the Overwhelmed Parenting Coach.
Yes, it's designed specifically to give parents exact, in-the-moment scripts. When you are totally touched out, overstimulated, and have literally no idea what to say when your child won't listen, this provides the tangible support to navigate those moments so you don't feel like you're doing it all alone.
They also offer a free guide called The Parenting Support Most of Us Never Had. If you are searching for ways to actually stop yelling and navigate meltdowns without falling into that shame spiral, I highly encourage downloading it. It gives you incredibly practical starting points. As we wrap up this explainer, we want to leave you with one final question to ask yourself. What is the next small step you can take today? We challenge you to completely drop the pressure of being the perfect parent. Let go of trying to solve every single parenting problem at once. The next time chaos hits, just focus on steadying the very next moment. You've got this. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will catch you next time.